Hey folks, uh, I am doing the recording on my own as you can see again today, but I've almost got the hang of it. I looked last week and it turned out pretty good, so I'm going to keep on. I sometimes don't have my production crew that's available, and today they're working elsewhere. Like I did last week, I'm going to talk today. I've got a lot to talk about, but I'm going to do it in three sections, kind of like I did last time. We're going to talk about the COVID-19 updates, general CARE South Carolina updates, and then we're going to talk about the subject of racial injustice. Before I do that, though, I want to say happy Juneteenth. I don't know if everybody knows about this Juneteenth celebration. I know I certainly had a learning curve to get over with it. Uh, Juneteenth is a celebration that came about from the Emancipation Proclamation. Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, on January the 11th, 1863. But there wasn't Facebook and there wasn't other social media and there wasn't a 24-hour news cycle, so it took a while to really spread throughout the South, the Southeast, and the Southwest states. And as a matter of fact, Texas, I believe, was the last to sign on to it, and that sign on was on June 19th. So that date has kind of stuck, and it has become Juneteenth, a day in which we all recognize the importance of the proclamation and the importance of our work and our effort toward social justice and against social and racial injustice. So happy Juneteenth to everyone. So, beginning with the COVID 19 updates. I sent an email out earlier this morning because, frankly, I know that some people can't get around to checking this video out until later. I seem to see that a lot of folks look at it at the end of the weekend, and that makes sense. But I thought it was real important, and we talked about this morning on the COVID 19 task force. And I'm hearing from a lot of other staff about concerns about what they're seeing in special counties. And so we got really concerned, and we want to issue a very big word of caution. You saw it in my email. There has been a huge resurgence in many, many counties, and I gave you data for several counties on cases for this 1 week alone. Horry County, 711 cases have had positive tests in just the last week. Those of you that are going to the beach, oh, please be careful. Charleston County, 493. Greenville, look at this, 814. Even those who live across or close to North Carolina, Mecklenburg County, where Charlotte is. Now, I know that's a big county, but there were 1,649 cases. Richland isn't far behind, over in Columbia and everything, 440. People are going shopping over in Florence, and there's 120 new cases just in the past week. And comparing that to all of our 5 counties, in which we only have combined 114 cases, Florence is really moving into becoming a hot spot. So please be careful as you travel. You need a break. We all need breaks. And I'm just pleading with everyone to, as I did in my email, to just be careful. Be very, very careful. I understand it's really hard. I hear stories about folks that are wearing their mask and they're doing everything in their power to stay 6 foot at distance, and they're getting some raised eyebrows and even in some cases some ugly remarks. Stay strong. You represent a healthcare organization that has at its mission to help to improve the health and well-being for everyone, and we can't do that if we're sick. So, um, we had a big testing event yesterday. These are big events that are done in collaboration with DHEC, although for the last couple of events, Chesterfield and Bennettsville, we've been going solo. We are like a well-oiled machine now. We can do these things on our own. We need from Department of Health, and we are most appreciative that they give us the testing kits. They help us out with PPE. But at Chesterfield yesterday, we did test 211 folks. That was a little bit of a smaller turnout than we've seen in our other four large testing events. We hope that that doesn't mean that Chesterfield is getting too complacent around the spread of the coronavirus. But we were able to use for the first time our new drive through tents. We were able to order some of these really wonderful tents through a direct relief grant, and they are magnificent. Take a look at them. Their pictures are on Facebook. We will be continuing to test. Chirral, though, is week after next. We've got a break next week from these large testing events. We'll be back doing it though in Chirral at the Northeastern Technical College campus on June the 30th. We also have some things that are coming up in the future. We're doing a testing event at Round Dome Missionary Baptist Church. It's going to really be a coalition of churches that we're outreaching to. This is a location that's between Darlington and Society Hill, and that's going to be on July the 9th. Coker University. I have to remind myself it's no longer Coker College, but anyway, we're doing testing for their athletic department in August. So testing is still taking place, and of course, we're still doing testing at our own locations in a drive-through as long as weather permits and as long as we have supplies. And y'all are doing a fabulous job around that. I really have to commend everybody. You have been doing anywhere upwards of some are 20, 30, 40, 50 tests. Bishopville hit a new high the other day and they did 70 tests. So it's amazing what you've been able to do. I reached down because I wanted to get something. I am really excited about this. The Mobies are coming. Now you might be saying, what did she say? That's right, I said it, Mobies. And what on earth, you might be asking, is a Moby? Well, I'm going to try to show this to you, and I hope that it comes through. I couldn't print it, but, oh, wait a minute. I'm tied up here. But I did. There you go. Can you see it? So these are what we call sprinter vans. They will carry three staff people, and this is essentially what we've kind of defined as our mobile testing team. It's a lab tech, a nurse, and someone that will do registration. We have ordered five. Four have been paid for with the testing grant that we got from HRSA. And Care First Foundation has raised funding and is donating the fifth one. That means we have a Moby for each county. Now, I can hear y'all laughing out there. I really can. Because you're saying, what is she talking about? What is a Moby? So I hope you noticed on there that these are mobile. You see where it says mobile? Well, a group of us, while we were at the Chesterfield testing event, we were walking around and we were looking at we have smaller vans, not for testing, but we were looking at the vans and we were looking at the graphics that Amanda had proposed and making some changes. And we wanted to make sure that we had the word mobile on there. And Randy, we started tossing around words, and Randy said, well, let's call them Mobies. It was kind of like, okay, that's pretty cute because then we can have Moby 1, Moby 2, Moby 3. We could keep up with them that way. And we said, well, what's a Moby? Well, it's a whale. It's a Moby, a Moby. So of course, then we had to find a graphic of a little happy whale to put on our Moby unit. So that's what they are. The Mobies are coming. The first Moby will get here on July the 10th. Actually, it'll be complete on July the 10th, and I think it'll be delivered sometime early in that following week. You're asking, what are we going to do with these Mobies? Well, they're going to carry these three folks that I talked about, and we're going to deploy them out in the community with a more hands on approach. A lot of people don't want to come into the office. They also don't want to come into these big testing events. You know, in some cases, we've had some pretty long waits and delays. So we want to take testing out to the community. And this is our way of doing it. We want to be able to test folks in their own settings, hopefully to more churches, maybe to housing locations, maybe to a social service agency or a particular law enforcement entity. We've been doing this, but now we have a piece of equipment, a wherewithal to really bring it all together, the Moby. We are really looking forward to this. After the July 10th vehicle is complete, we're hoping to get one about every 3 to 4 weeks after that until we've completed our order. We're getting them from a provider up in North Carolina, fairly local, you know, and we were we were first on their list, I have to say. So kudos to a lot of people who have been working on this: Mark Zabisky, Randy Carlisle, Peggy Foster, Shanika Pyatt. A lot of folks have been working hard to make this come together, and I'm really, if you can't tell, I'm really excited about our Mobies are coming. Okay, um, I'm going to move around to the second general topic where I talk about just general Care South Carolina updates. There's not quite as much today. We're settling back in this week. You've probably seen a lot of folks are coming back into the office. We're getting kind of settled back in and into the swing of things, so to speak. Things are not, though, a word of caution, completely back to normal. There's still a virus out there. We still have to be very careful. We still have to exercise caution and social distancing, but we're trying to settle back in. Also, next week is going to be a big move. The Society Hill Pharmacy building is complete. In spite of rains and floods and everything else, we finally got the building complete. They are actually in Hartsville. I said Society Hill, didn't I? I sure did. Well, scratch that. I don't know what I was thinking. The Hartsville Pharmacy building is finally complete. Um, when Ashley listens to this, she's going to have a coronary. But anyway, the Hartsville building is complete. We're going to close down the Hartsville Pharmacy on the 26th, which is Friday, and on Monday, the 29th. They'll work all weekend with the help of the facility and maintenance folks, and they will reopen in that new building with a drive-through on the 30th. I'm really excited for them. It's a beautiful building. It's a good location, and I think it's going to make a big difference. That means that the curbside delivery that we've all been enjoying at the Hartsville location will now move to becoming a drive-through. So we look forward to that. I appreciate the other sites that are helping out. We're going to be able to manage delivery of some folks' medications, and we're making sure that people really know about this. Another reminder, the 2020 census is still open. If you haven't done the census, oh, please do this. Encourage all your friends and families, everybody to do the census. If we aren't counted in the census, when the feds in all of the different departments, whether it's Health and Human Services or wherever, decide to start giving out grants, the best tool they've got is the census. And if we don't accurately reflect all of the population in our counties, the grant dollars just simply and or other appropriation dollars simply do not flow. We need those dollars. We need our counties and our communities. We need those resources. So please let me encourage you to get out and check that online census. It's brief, doesn't take long, and please encourage everyone else. Also, there's something else going on. The Best of the PD is taking place, and we are in an amazing number of categories. We made it to the top 5 in a lot of different things: addictions, behavioral health counselors, chiropractic care, diabetic and nutrition, pain management, pediatric dentistry, the pharmacy, telehealth, trauma and abuse, ultrasound, endocrinology, and best infectious disease doctor. Hats off to all of our staff that were particularly named: Robin Gibson, Dr. Davis, Jonathan Davis, Dr. Hubbard, Joshua Hubbard. Um, Pat Weaver was mentioned a couple of times, and also Dr. Adawaka. So go on there. We know we're the best of the PD, but let's make sure everybody else in the PD knows that. Um, it's not shameful to vote for yourself. Go ahead and do it. Okay, I don't think I have any other general updates, so I'm going to pivot to this tough discussion around racial injustice that we've been talking about in conversations over the last few weeks. I sent an email out earlier this week on the anniversary of the Mother Emanuel death. Um, a very, very, very sad day. Lots of my friends and folks and acquaintances had heavy hearts on that day because that was a day that marked the death of so many innocent people. The death and the wounding. There are 5 victims, and not to mention their families. And then, of course, today is Juneteenth, another day in which we raise our hearts and our minds and our souls to think about racial injustices. Uh, I've heard a lot of folks that have had some real problems with this focus, and I want to kind of tell a little story around this. Uh, I've had a family person that had a tremendous fear of dogs. I said that dogs, and they were terrified, and with good reason, with absolutely good reason. They were attacked and very, very sustained, very difficult, and hard to recover from injuries, scars, not to mention the emotional trauma. Well, I I I understood that. I have dogs, and this person just told me point blank, I can't accept your invitation to the house because of my past experiences. And I can't get over my past experiences. I've tried, they said. Uh, I've even undergone uh, some counseling. Miss Ackland was a family member. Um, but my job was not to try to convince my family member that my dogs are different. They don't bite. They're little. Y'all have seen Samson. That's not my job. My job was to understand and to hear, to not pass judgment, to understand and to hear. So when I talk about our work at Care South on racial injustice, I'm talking about it from an organizational standpoint. I get to also talk about it from my own personal standpoint, but understand that that is my, Ann Lewis's, personal standpoint. I stand against racism. I stand against social injustice. You all probably by now have heard about that we, over this past week, have terminated an employee who very publicly expressed behavior of racism, behavior that does not mirror the values and does not reflect the mission and purpose of Care South. That mission and purpose to improve the health and well-being for everyone. You know, a lot of folks may say, I have the right to public speech. And indeed, you do. Just like my family member said, I have the right to not want to go to your house because you have dogs. I hear you. But at CARE South Carolina, we also employ those folks that embody, that support, and that indeed hear the calling of what our mission is to improve the health and well being for everyone. So, as I want to move this organization forward in our stand against racial injustice, we are not the only organization in healthcare that is moving forward in this. Many of y'all may know that CARE South Carolina has been in partnership with the Institute for Healthcare Improvement for many, many, many years. And when they, many years ago, formed a leadership alliance, we were one of the first at the table for that. And then, even back in 2017, as we moved forward in the Leadership Alliance, and I, along with several people, said it is time for the Leadership Alliance to stand for and take positions around equity. And they heard that call. And indeed, they formed a work group to address the inequities in our institutions and in healthcare. And we did work. But over the last few weeks, there has been an even greater need, a greater sense of urgency around all of the organizations that are in the Healthcare Alliance to come back together, to re energize our stand in our work toward equity. And we have done that. I have actually been asked to co chair this group, and that's quite an honor. We're going to put forth two aims that every entity in this leadership alliance, including CARE South Carolina, to come up with one aim against institutional racism and to come up with one aim toward addressing health disparity, a health outcome that is disparate amongst white versus non-white. I'm going to add to that I want us, CARE South Carolina, to additionally come up with a statement, a stand on racial injustice. To do this, I am forming an inclusion council. I don't think that I should do it on my own. I don't think that even the executive management team should do it on their own. I need and want the voices throughout CARE South Carolina. And that is going to be the purpose of this inclusion council. I'm going to invite folks that represent departments, every department across the organization, to be members of the Inclusion Council. I'm first going to ask for nominations and even volunteers for folks that want to sit on this Inclusion Council. And together we will come up with our statement that reflects what the CARE South Carolina stand and position is around racism and racial injustice, We will come up with an aim that addresses what we feel like is institutional racism at CARE South Carolina. And we will come up with an aim that reflects an outcome that we want to see that is zero disparity. I don't know what those will be. We will see what comes out of the Inclusion Council. I'm challenging and charging the council to work rapidly. We need a turnaround. We need direction. We need this to happen at CARE South. So I hope everyone will join me in this. Remember, if you want to email me and nominate someone, do so. If you want to nominate yourself, volunteer, do so. I hope that I can, at my next weekly message, let you know who all is going to be on this Inclusion Council. Maybe they will have already met. Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful? And maybe we will already have something to report. But we're going to work on this. This is important, and I believe that it really reflects the mission of who we are at CARE South. We are CARE South Carolina strong. Stay safe. It's a tough weekend ahead of you. We want to see you all back on Monday, healthy and reinvigorated. Take care, everyone.